We begin in West Africa, where the Nigerian Senate has passed the controversial Petroleum Industry Bill known as PIB. The bill passed on Thursday after careful consideration of each of the clauses. The Senate, before passing the bill, met behind closed doors with the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timi Silva, and the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Mele Kyari. The passage of the bill comes exactly 13 years after it was first presented to the National Assembly in 2008. Joining us now for more on the controversial energy bill is energy correspondent Adeola Yusuf. Thank you very much for joining us on the news.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
13 years in the making. What took so long?
Okay, thank you so much. There is an addition to that information about 13 years. Actually, the Petroleum Industry Bill started about 20 years ago during the regime of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And there has been foot dragging on that bill because of so much interest the bill has generated. You recall that Nigeria is the country that depends largely on oil and gas. And because oil is the cake that everyone has his knife to cut his share, anytime an issue pertaining to a reform of that oil industry comes up, there will be so much interest. And it's because of that interest, we have the interest on the part of the international oil companies, the producers of crude. We have interest pertaining to the politicians. We have interest pertaining to the businessmen. We have interest pertaining to the host community, and so on and so forth. So that has been the reason there has been this a step forward and about 5 steps backward scenario that we have seen concerning that bill. So for about 20 years, the bill has, has been on the tongue of the Nigerian government.
Hello, Adeola, can you hear us? I think our network has interrupted him. But if you can hear me, there's a lot of comments about the good that this bill has for the petroleum industry. And one of them is the sanitizing of the NNPC, ensuring more accountability and, of course, making it a full-fledged company under statutory oversight with better returns for its shareholders. Can you please break this down for us?
Okay, thank you so much. Part of what we have in the bill, and before I talk about that one, it's important that I say that it's not yet uhuru for Nigerians to celebrate the passage, because some years ago, the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill was passed the same way, and it was sent to the president for assent, and the president didn't assent that bill. So we still have about 3 hurdles for this bill, to pass. But having said that, you asked a question about reforms or transformation in the NNPC, and that is one of the key areas that this bill, has come to address. In actual fact, what the bill envisages or what the bill prescribes is that the NNPC is transforming into a commercial entity. The tradition of trying to ensure that I have an uncle that works with NNPC, then definitely whether I'm competent or not, I will be employed. That era will gone if eventually this bill passes through the 3 rules I talk about. There is one thing that is so fundamental about that reform or transformation of NNPC. In actual fact, the NNPC's sale, the NNPC stake is part of the stakes, are going to be sold through initial public offerings. So every Nigerian with that financial, chest power will be able to buy into NNPC. You understand? So with that, there will be more accountability, there will be more transparency. Before now, the GMD of NNPC, the present GMD of NNPC, has, outlined, has been able to do a lot of things to deep-root transformation and transparency. You recall that for the first time in the over 40 years history of the corporation, report of the commission, audited one was published for the first time. And on monthly basis, we have been having the M4, the monthly financial and operational report of the NNPC published. So, but with this, with the passage of the bill, we are going to have that transparency and accountability well institutionalized. So it is a good thing, but because of what I know about this bill and the history, I know it's not yet rule for Nigerians to celebrate because of those three fundamentals, all fundamental others.
I know you keep cautioning that it is not yet Uhuru, but there is so much that this bill, if eventually fully passed and assented by the president, will do for the people. So in a few moments that you can, say about 30 seconds to 1 minute, tell us some of the benefits this bill will have for Nigerians.
Okay, number one, we've mentioned the NNPC, the transparency and accountability in NNPC. The number one tool, which is so fundamental, is the recognition and reward for the host community. You could see that the host community has been the one, laying the egg, the golden egg, but suffering a lot about it. So now this bill, if reconciled, because there are some differences in what the House of Representatives passed and what the Senate passed, that's going to be a need for reconciliation first. You understand? If that is reconciled, we are having between 3% and 5% of investment that every oil company, has made in an host community, reinjected into that host community for development. Then there's this issue of gas flaring. The fines that they are awarding on gas flaring will now go to the host community that are suffering it. That is aside. Then we have spoken about the NNPC. We have spoken, and there are some agencies of government in the oil and gas industry that have overlapping functions. Some of them will be scrapped, while some of them will be matched. So that is going to streamline, the waste in the industry. You will understand that there is corruption too. There has been corruption in the industry. Once transparency and accountability are institutionalized, that is going to reduce drastically.
All right.
And so on and so forth.
I certainly see the explanation you're giving, particularly when it comes to fighting corruption and other vices in the oil industry, and of course the benefit for the host communities. Thank you very much, Adeola Yusuf, energy correspondent, for speaking with us.